Welcome back to our live transmission. Of course, we saw the election of President today, Asif Ali Zardari being elected as the President of Pakistan. We'll be talking about now moving forward as far as the political parties together and what we can expect as far as the direction of the Parliament also, and the measures that are going to be taken in the next couple of weeks, what can be expected from the government at this time. Of course, governance itself, the cabinet that has to be sworn in, of course the challenges that at this time Pakistan faces as a country, and how to combat those. All of that today. I have with me Naveed Aman, who is a political analyst. Thank you so much for being with us. We also have with us Aniq Zafar, who's a senior analyst. Thank you for joining us. And we will also have with us Javed Jadoon, who is a senior analyst. I'm going to start with Naveed Sahab. Naveed Sahab, overall, we saw the election of the president. We saw, things we have seen for the last things moving on schedule by and large. As far as the election of prime minister is concerned, then, of course, the cabinet now is going to follow, and we are also going to be looking at the oath taking, all of that. As far as the challenges are concerned, economy is really the main challenge at this time, with the review pending as far as the IMF is concerned. We know where the opposition stands on it. We've seen the letter also to the IMF. The former head of PTI has written, the former chairman of PTI. How do you look at things moving on from here?
MAHRUKH, the government is now, complete with the election of the president. Tomorrow he will take oath. And then the government will be, in an operational, formally in operational mode. Yes, all the political parties, even the former PTI, they also have consensus on the issues and the challenges the country and the nation is facing. In the government, People's Party and PMLN are now in the driving seat, and both the parties, they know that the challenges are gigantic, and they will have to address all those one by one at the same time. I mean, they cannot say that we will solve this issue now and this after 5 years. Now, the PTI government was not as experienced as this government or the politicians are. Nawaz Sharif Sahab and Zardari Sahab or Shehbaz Sharif all are very experienced politicians and have governed this country for many times. And Nawaz Sharif Sahab, Shehbaz Sharif Sahab twice, and Zardari Sahab is president for the second time. Now, they need to sit all together, have consensus on the issues, and start addressing all the issues one by one, so that the country should move towards, safe harbors. And I believe that these two parties have learnt lesson from the last 5 years politics. But what Imran Khan or his party has learnt out of all this, he should also have learnt lesson from all this, because the way Zardari Sahab became the president is a classical model for Imran Khan to learn how he can make ways for himself, his party, and country and the nation.
But he chooses to differentiate himself from this style of politics. Isn't that true, Aniq Sahab?
Yes, definitely. What his politics, I think, as we have witnessed all over the world, that there was a wave in the world which was anti-politics politics, right? People like Trump, and in Hungary there is a movement, then in Brazil and all that. All these people said that we are different from politicians, and we are going to bring some new form of politics, or whatever way they wanted to describe that. For these people, politics per se was not something they wanted to do, but they were doing something anti-politics. So Imran Khan has been anti-politics, and that is why he became popular in some sections of the society. So his politics will remain chaotic. His politics will be focused on creating chaos and creating crises, because that's what propels him upwards. That is his thought process. But again, there is a cycle which ultimately ends. Ultimately, people need deliverance. People need economic relief. People need governance. So, if the new government is able to focus on delivery, and also given the new era of social media and so-called era of narratives and all that, they will have to actually communicate very well to the people. These two parties, despite being very good at politics, because obviously as you can see that they are also the first government which has returned in Pakistan, right? So they are good at politics. What they have been lacking is in the field of telling their own story. So they have to tell their story effectively. They have to regain some of the losses and then establish politics which is beneficial for the state and the society.
Fair enough. Let me go to Javed Jadoon sahab. Javed sahab, there is of course a style of politics that PTI is known for. I want to go into that and what we can expect in the next couple of months and perhaps even further than that. But overall, as far as politics at this time is concerned, deliverance is concerned, do you think they're going to concentrate on the kind of criticism and allegations that we are seeing? And even today, we are looking at allegations of, all sorts of allegations being put forward against, as far as PMLN is concerned, as far as the leadership is concerned there. What can you expect? I mean, can there be a conducive criticism at all in the parliament, or do you think it's going to be just this kind of ruckus?
Thank you very much, MAHRUKH. I think it is not a question of criticism, or it's not a question of who is wise and who is not wise. This conversation seems to be so very much embedded in the 80s and 90s, when we used to talk about which politician is so shrewd, which one is not really shrewd. Some politicians, even then, they talked about confrontation politics, and because they believed that they thrived in confrontation politics. MAHRUKH, there has been a paradigm shift in the society. There has been a societal change in Pakistan. And today, Pakistan is faced with a very grave economic situation. Forget about who is good at politics and who is not good at politics. Now, the most important question is how you can deal with myriads of challenges which Pakistan is faced with today. Now, there's not a question of confrontation politics or non-confrontation politics. Prime Minister is in place. President has been elected. He will take oath of office in a couple of days. The process of transition has completed. Only the elections of the Senate are remaining. Now, what are the problems? Let me talk about the problems or the challenges or the grave kind of issues which Pakistan is faced with right now. Number one is to go to the International Monetary Fund.
Talk about, we're talking about this, and again, I think that's a very sane approach when you're saying that, the government has been sworn in and, now it has to move towards governance. But we saw, we are not away, we are still stuck in that politics of allegations. We saw, two allegations leveled against CM Punjab, Mariam Nawaz, recently in the last couple of days. We saw, one by Shandana Gulzar, and again today, as far as Marwat Saab is concerned, he's again, these allegations which are baseless, and then there are pressers on them. It is indicative of the kind of politics. Is it still going to be regressive as far as PTI is concerned? How do you look at it?
MAHRUKH, there were allegations in 2018 when it was alleged that elections were rigged, and we saw the kind of the confrontation politics in that particular time period as well. Now, I think as far as Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif's government is concerned, they do not have the luxury of time. I'm not denying what you're talking about. I agree what you say, that confrontation politics draws away the attention of
these allegations, of course, it started off with rigging, and I'll take your opinion on this. I'm going to include Naveed Saab in this also. Naveed Saab, these are allegations of a very different kind, as far as both the allegations are concerned. These are not rigging allegations. And of course, they are coming forward at this time, and it shows that they are not ready to become a part of, the parliament as an opposition also, doesn't it?
The politics, in our politics, the politicians who won election should become the part of the parliament, number one. Number two, as far as the allegations are concerned, normally in Pakistan, during the last 5 years, we have experienced that the politicians, some of the politicians, they go for such unethical allegations against the political opponents, like we have seen in Lahore, one who is related to PTI and has extended allegation against Muhtarama Maryam Nawaz Sahiba. I mean, it is objectionable, and it is beneath the dignity of the politics and the politicians as well. So one should maintain the ethics.
But is it also like showing the kind of propaganda at play, and the fact that, you know, they feel that they can perhaps get away with a kind of politics which is propaganda based, which is not, you know, baseless, which doesn't have any proof to it?
No truth in it. And such sort of false propaganda which really is beneath the dignity of you know, the norms and the values.
What does it aim to do, Aniq Saab? Do you think it's just aiming to take away from what's actually happening? What does it aim to do, this kind of allegations that are flying?
Just to gain that popularity, cheap popularity.
I mean, again, the issue right here is that one party has not been able to translate its popularity into seats and come back into power, or come into power. Now that party has to stay relevant to the politics. The problem with that party is that in the parliamentary form of system, or in the politics within the house, they will be they are facing defeats continuously in the processes. The election of the speaker, the deputy speaker, the prime minister, now the president. So what do they do? They do not have any other story right now to tell. The story that there was rigging, okay, that story is now 1 month old. Now politics has moved on.
So you think it's
in
about
these
relevance?
very studios we had discussed that once the process kicks in, even before the elections we were talking about it, that once the process kicks in, it has its own dynamics and takes over whatever is happening on the street, it takes over that. So now that process has reached a stage where it's almost complete. There are now upcoming Senate elections. So again, they will be facing a few defeats. So now they have two things available. Either they get some sort of relief from the court and they can play on that, and the other platform they have available is to come up with outlandish conspiracy theories, try to create chaos in the society, confusion in the mind of the masses. So these things are directed towards that. Obviously, they cannot prove these allegations, that is for sure, but they will continue doing that because some of these people think that the only way they can rise up or climb up the ladder in their own party is by leveling such allegations.
Javed Saab, okay, you know, as far as these allegations are concerned, as far as moving forward and, you know, from this politics of allegations, do you think we can now, you know, you mentioned that it's about working, it's about deliverance. Do you think that we are, as far as the main two political parties are concerned, the PPP and the PMLN, they are going to be able to work together towards that? Of course, you know, the PMLN still wants the PPP to become a part of the cabinet. Do you think that there's a chance that that may happen now, you know, perhaps at a later stage, perhaps after the budget? Do you think things can move in that direction?
I'm sorry, you didn't let me complete. I was talking about the same issue which you just raised. I mean, as far as the coalition is concerned, Pakistan People's Party went for the win-win situation. They took away the presidency and they will take away the chairmanship of the Senate as well. These are two very important constitutional offices. Now, the brunt is left to Pakistan Muslim League N. Pakistan Muslim League N is going to form a cabinet. They will be taking the decisions, bad or good, and every follow-up effect is going to be borne by Pakistan Muslim League N, not by Pakistan People's Party, not even by MQM. Now, coming back to your point, what kind of a coalition you see, MAHRUKH, my question to you, with Pakistan People's Party sitting in the same house but not part of the government, and the only party which is going to form the cabinet and going to run the government is Pakistan Muslim League N. The kind of economic team they are going to put in place, that will be answering all of our apprehensions about how to handle the economy.
There are other allies. I mean, there's MQM and other allies also.
We know that, but look,
they will
what
be part of the cabinet,
MQM,
right?
Yes, they will be part of the cabinet. They have been demanding their part of the flesh, and they have been denied that. They wanted more than 3 ministries, and most probably they will be getting just one. And the kind of noises they have been raising in the media, it tells how, I mean, this is going to unfold. Even in the core commanders' conference's press release, the 3 main important issues were raised by the core commanders. That is the recovery of the economy, that is the good governance which is going to be provided to the people of Pakistan, and how you deal with the myriad of challenges which Pakistan is faced with today. Now, I mean, these are very changed times, MAHRUKH. You need to understand. There's a young population, it's a young country. More than 60% people are young people. They have got different aspirations, different demands. They're looking for jobs. I mean, out of these young people, more than 30 years of age, most of them would be looking for jobs when they come into the market. I mean, and inflation, the back-breaking inflation, which is the highest in South Asia, going to be a big challenge. Because why, MAHRUKH? The rising prices of energy. We have seen the rise of prices of electricity, gas, and petrol as well. And even in the coming days, we see a kind of a trend in the international market where the petrol prices are rising. So this impact is going to go to the people of Pakistan. And most importantly, MAHRUKH, let us not forget that when Pakistan goes to the IMF, we are going to have very tough conditions now. Because Pakistan not going to IMF is not an option for Pakistan. We need to unlock the external financial supplies. When we go to the IMF, then we can talk with the bilateral partners like Saudi Arabia and Qatar and United Arab Emirates and China. So the problem for the government is not the allegations coming from second or third tier leadership of Pakistan, Tehreek-e-Insaf. The problem is to get to the problem, get to the table. You look at the issues, how you're going to deal with it. Even in my personal opinion, you don't have a time to lose to form the cabinet. Go for the cabinet as soon as possible. Go for a very small,
we can expect that kind of political stability now that there is a PM, and of course we'll have the oath of the president also, and of course the cabinet formation, and of course going back to the IMF. So we can expect a kind of stability that was earlier perhaps not there, and as far to help the economy. Isn't that true?
Definitely. The formation of the government shows that the government is very consistent and very committed to address the economic issues. First of all, number one, because the month of Ramadan is approaching, then will be followed by the budget. So the government doesn't have that money to maintain all these things. Now the government will have to arrange that money for the uplift of a common man, the life of a common man. This is only possible when we go for the self-reliance measures. In self-reliance, Pakistan will have, or the government will have to address agriculture, IT, and mineral resources. From these 3 main sectors, we can have that much amount from different provinces to manage our expenditures. And number 2, the non-productive or non-development projects or the expenditures will have to curtail. We'll have
what about
to show
KP as a province? Aniq Zafar, I'm going to include you in the discussion. You know, how much cooperation, because we have a CM in KP who's known for his aggressive style. What kind of a cooperation with of course 18th Amendment also there, as far as in the background. There's a lot of autonomy as far as provinces are concerned. What kind of a liaison do you expect?
I think within a couple of months these things will run on a smooth will unfold, and there will be a smooth relationship, working relationship, because again this is the 3rd term of PTI in KP. Despite the overwhelming support they have in KP, they also need to deliver there, and that needs funds. and those funds have to come from some sources, and major source is federal divisible pool. And KP has a demand that NFC award should be reconstituted because FATA has merged into KP, and it has increased its population. So they need to increase their share in NFC. All that is only possible when there is a smooth working relationship with the federal government and other parties, because other provinces are being run by other parties. So KP has to engage with these parties, has to engage on the official level with the federal government. So these things will come around. Right now, only 1 month has passed. Some temperatures are coming down. See today, even in Punjab Assembly or in the National Assembly and Senate joint session, joint house, there was no ruckus, there was no protest. People voted very smoothly, and obviously on the other side, Mahmood Khan Achakzai, a veteran politician, was a candidate, and he was gracious enough to accept his defeat, and also he gave legitimacy to the elections by even saying that there was no sale and purchase of the votes. So that kind of environment is developing, and I'm very happy that someone like Mr. Achakzai is sitting on the opposition benches, and I think he will coach our new entrants into the National Assembly how to behave on the floor of the National Assembly. One hopes so.
But the question is whether Imran Khan or his associates will learn anything from Achakzai or not. If it is a test.
The question is if they feel that it helps them politically.
It will not help them politically or the country or the nation. So they will have to have dialogue with the political parties.
But is it about the same? Javed Sahab, is it the same for them? Whether it helps the country or it helps the nation or it helps the their own politics? Because the IMF letter is an example of what they feel may have helped them, their economy, their own politics, rather than anything to do with the country. Isn't that true?
Yes, Maruf, I think we must expect a very stormy National Assembly sessions, because Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, which is now Sunni Ittehad Council, believes that their electoral vote bank has been stolen away. Rightly or wrongly, that's a different debate. But I think they are going to create a lot of problems for the government in the National Assembly, particularly the very noisy kind of a group. Most of them are first timers. Most of them are very aggressive. I have seen from the press gallery in the National Assembly when Prime Minister's election was being carried out. They are going to be a very aggressive opposition, very noisy and very troubling as well. But now, what options does the government have? I think government would definitely should concentrate on resolving the issues. Let them speak in the parliament, let them create noises in the National Assembly or Senate, whatever. Let them create problems for the government as far as the running of the house is concerned. But Prime Minister would be sitting in the Prime Minister's office. He is going to hold a cabinet meeting there where there is going to be no opposition. So I think he has the luxury of the time to concentrate on prioritizing the issues and the problems and the challenges Pakistan is faced with. Of course, one of the commentators was talking about the relations between the KP government and the federal government. But I believe down the road, they are not going to be so much rocky we expect right now, because even the KP government will have to forge cooperative ties with the government, because they will be depending on finances as far as KP is concerned. And so are going to be the other provinces as well. So I believe it's not going to be a very rocky road as far as KP and federal government relations are concerned. My problem is how Prime Minister of Pakistan is going to prioritize his issues, because Maruk, mark my words, we can expect 90 days from now, we will be talking about how the situation stands, because as was pointed out, one of the commentators, that Ramadan is coming, prices are going to go up, and then the budget is going to come. What kind of a relief government is going to provide? I don't believe there is any space to provide relief to the common man. The backbreaking inflation is going to rise further in Ramadan, and we have seen as has been happening in the past as well. So there's a very little space to provide relief to the common man. So the dismay and the disappointment and dejection sets in after 90 days. Same happened with Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf government when they were in power in after 2018. Pakistan, the PDM was in power for 18 months. We saw a lot of chaos, but this time around, I think they must have learned the lesson.
As far as the PMLN is concerned, as far as Punjab is concerned, as far as the PMLN leadership in Punjab is concerned, they're already, as far as Maryam Nawaz is concerned, she's already working on, a Ramzan package. She's also working on trying to deal with the challenges that people will feel as far as Ramzan is concerned. Bringing it to bringing the provisions to the doorstep. All of this, it seems to be on the agenda as far as the PMLN is concerned. Isn't that true?
Yes, MAHRUKH, one thing in this regard is very important, and that is, it is okay. Package is very important for the province immediately, because to give relief to the masses immediately, you will have to go for the packages.
Right.
But one thing is important for the governance. If the governance is endorsed or is empowered or checked by the CM herself, the deputy commissioners or the assistant commissioners on the tehsil levels, they are responsible to keep the prices on the the normal.
Because when talk about, when we particularly as far as Ramzan related inflation is concerned, that is a problem of governance.
Yes, of course.
And that's not really anything to do with the price hike overall.
Definitely.
So those are things that the administration can work towards, and we're already looking at her going herself, checking herself as far as the
administration can really bring the prices down because of all these measures, and it will be a good move, and keep on checking it even post Ramzan.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, we were mentioning about earlier, we were talking about Imran Khan's statement that he gave a statement about his dialogue with the political parties. He has said that he is ready to have dialogues with the political parties, but he has not mentioned to whom. He is not ready to talk to PMLN, and he is not ready to talk to MQM.
Right.
To whom then he is ready to talk?
Is he ready to talk to PPP?
No.
One thing he has mentioned, that he is ready to talk to the political parties.
But what does it mean?
Yes, this
that
is very important.
Yes,
Yes, I think he believes that establishment is the only political party to whom he wants to talk. He was mentioning all that.
I think his party people went to JUI, and then they have an alliance with Sunni Ittihad, and they have an alliance with MWM. So perhaps he meant that, because as far as his intention or his party's intentions of engaging with PMLN or PPP, which are the main stakeholders of the system right now, are not very apparent. We haven't seen any indication by the members of his party in the National Assembly, or otherwise the political leadership of the party, which is almost the same. So again, question is, what do they decide from here onwards? Do they want to continue the protest? Do they want to continue to fight on the streets? What is their strategy? Once elections are held and you have joined the House, the actual strategy is inside the House, where you try to create new alliances, where you try to create pressure on the government, keep the government on the toes, wait for it to make mistakes, and then use those alliances which you have built over time to maybe remove the government, like PDM did in 2022. They waited on the floor of the House. Yes. They waited and waited for 3.5 years, and when they saw that they could strike, they struck.
And then
right? Right. So that is how politics works. For some people, that was a very some people even who are from PMLN or PPP think that was the wrong move. But again, that is debatable. But that's how politics is. That if you see that you can remove your opponent through a parliamentary procedure, why not?
Why not go?
Why not? Why not go for it?
And also, when we talk about dissolution, I think that one of the things that the former Prime Minister Imran Khan Sahab did was that he decided to dissolve the assemblies.
Yeah.
And that decision, I think he also acknowledges later on, was a wrong decision.
Yeah, and he admits that he acted on the counsel of someone who was outside the political system. So it's very funny that he admits to all these things, and then he goes back on to claiming that others are responsible for it.
Consistently. I have to go to Javed Sabji.
PTI leader Imran Khan, he can perform very well being in the opposition if he or his party focuses on the issues,
but the
issue to issue.
That's the question. Are they going to be just, for them there is enough? Javed Sab, I want to include you in this. As far as politics of opposition is concerned, they clearly have enough to be able to oppose anything, because unfortunately the government is right now is it's a difficult task to take things forward for the government, perhaps an easier one as far as the opposition is concerned. But do you think in the circumstances at this time, this kind of sloganeering, this kind of racketeering, or this kind of overall mayhem that the PTI is known for as a political party is going to be beneficial for them long term?
I think, Mark, when you are in the opposition, you thrive on confrontation. This is what we saw when Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf took the power, and the former Prime Minister, when he started speaking in the House, we saw the same kind of scenes which we saw when Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif was elected from the National Assembly. I mean, it is traditionally and inherently, this is what the opposition does in Pakistan. I'm strictly talking about in terms of Pakistani politics. But do you want to get distracted by this? I don't believe so, because if you get distracted, then you are going to go away from your agenda of reforms, your agenda of recovering, reforming the economy, and agenda of providing relief to the common man, because that is the priority, and that should be the priority of every government. But in these very particular times I'm talking about, you don't have the luxury of time, as I pointed out earlier. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif took oath on the 4th of March. Almost a week has passed, and still the process of finalizing the list for the cabinet is underway. I believe that you should have taken the decision. You know that the situation that government is going to be formed by Pakistan Muslim League, and every party which aspires to be in power should be ready as far as the cabinet is concerned, the team is concerned, because people are looking. Mark, let us not forget, every person in Pakistan is looking.
It's expected that the new cabinet will be announced in the next 24 hours. But of course, once there is a cabinet in place, for things to go on and start working, and for there to be deliverance for the people, that is going to take time, and that is the most challenging task as far as the government is concerned. And we are of course not looking at the PPP joining the cabinet at this time. So at this time the onus and the responsibility seems to rest with the PMLN.
Definitely it will, because the Prime Minister is from PMLN. People's Party is having an eye on the performance of PMLN.
Yes.
If in the first 6 months PMLN goes very well, People's Party will definitely join the cabinet, because they will be comfortable. They will be knowing that there is no problem in joining the cabinet, and then they will share everything. If PMLN doesn't go smoothly and faces hurdles or the problems in the first 6 months, PMLN will be the loser, and People's Party will be the first party who will be the gainer, and they will have that benefit within the government, or even after completing this term, they will be the next to come forward to have a strong position in the next elections.
Aniq Sahab, as far as the challenge of the governance is concerned, that is there. But do you think it's also a time of reflection for political parties, which feel that they haven't done across the board as well as they should have, in terms of the mandate that is there at this time? And for that, there's going to have to be major changes within the way that they conduct their own members, their own decisions.
Absolutely, Maruk. I mentioned it earlier also that they need to perform, they need to reflect, they need to re-establish their connect with the people, with the youth. They have to understand that new voters are joining joining the voters list every month, and by the time 5 years down the road, there will be another maybe 100 million, 10 million or 15 million new voters in the voters list. So they have to understand that these voters need their attention. The youth of this country needs opportunities, needs hope. Until unless we are able to create that environment where their true potential can flourish, we cannot expect them to follow politics or governance of deliverance. If they are not getting opportunities, if they are not seeing that the government is delivering, then they will be adopting for same narrative of chaos and turmoil and conflict. So we have to wean them away from conflict. We have to put them into some positive activities, and that's how these political parties. And again, I will be very keenly looking at the cabinet. I will definitely like some young faces coming into the cabinet, not the same old people. I respect the old politicians, but now their task should be to guide the youth, but let the youth be the face.
I think more than 60 or 70% will be the experienced politicians, and the new lot will be very,
Do you think, Javed Sahab, there's going to be a significant change in the style of governance? Do you see it happening?
Yes,
you think so?
There is got to be. MAHRUKH, what was just pointed out, that they need to reconnect. I mean, when you talk about the good governance, that means that you must have new faces as well, because those who have been tried and tested in the past, I don't believe that they are going to deliver the way they ought to be delivering as far as the current challenges are concerned. MAHRUKH, let me briefly tell you two very important factors will determine whether there's going to be very strong opposition's chaotic kind of a show in the parliament in the country. One is, if you start delivering, the opposition's hue and cry will subside. If you don't deliver, if you don't provide relief, that will embolden the opposition. They will become more stronger, more noisy, more aggressive. Because once you believe, and from opposition's perspective, that government of the day is not delivering, there's a more.
But isn't it true, Javed Sahab? We saw what happened earlier also with regard to the experiment as far as new faces are concerned. Are we really going to be, it's a question of balancing, right? We can't have new faces at the cost of experience and, just at the cost of experiment, because Pakistan can now not afford any experiment.
Of course.
We have been discussing this in your shows in the past as well. I think there ought to be a blend of experienced people and the young people. Why you need young people, as was pointed out, there's a young population. They have got different problems. Unfortunately, I don't want to be critical, but visiting these schools and knocking the door of the people is not going to change the landscape. What is going to change the landscape of the country is the good governance and delivery of the services. Of course, I think the young faces will make the difference. People will start believing that the young politicians are coming up. They might be aspiring that they might have the kind of solutions the young people right now are faced with. If you have entirely the old
with the youth, or connecting with the younger, as far as students are concerned, as far as which is also extremely important as a political party for the PMLN, isn't that true?
Definitely, 60%, more than 60% population is comprises on the youth. So the government will have to address youth by all means, and the Punjab is the most populous province, and the youth, they need employment or business or agriculture or everything, or opportunities to excel. So they are waiting for the government, either the Punjab government or the federal government, to provide those opportunities
but
for
the question is,
excel.
if we have an active CM in place as far as Punjab is concerned, where of course education is part of her purview as far as the province is concerned, for her to be visiting schools or visiting hospitals, that is part of the management of it. That is very much a part of what she has to do as the chief minister, and it has nothing to do with overall efficacy, and for her to improve her efficacy by doing those things and trying to redress the complaints and look at the situation on ground. Hasn't it historically proved that it makes a difference as far as...
It does make a difference, make a difference, but again at some stage it has to move beyond that. These optics are very important. The people in the education department or the health department or other administrative areas must know that the chief minister can visit anytime, can check their performance and all that. But in the times of digital connectivity, all these can be even remotely monitored. But the real question is how these departments start delivering for the people. So that gap has to be quickly met. I think she is getting right now the feel of it. What do the people feel?
But I think
so
as far as
direct connection
Chief
is important. Direct connection of a chief minister or any leader is important. I think she is developing that. But at some stage, as I said, all these gaps in deliverance have to be plugged.
Because we saw earlier on, as far as Shehbaz Sharif Sahab as CM is concerned, and his most popular images are of him in the rain or in Ramzan bazaars checking things, and I think she's following in the same footsteps.
It is, but I think she should empower, or she should strengthen her team. Her team should go in the field to check everything, because as CM she cannot go everywhere to check everything. So that is the thing which she will have to
delegation
check.
Of course, and I'm sure
delegation
she's
of power is very
she has
important.
to delegate overall. Javed Sahab, your quick comments. Unfortunately, we're also running out of time.
Yes, I think I agree with the two commentators that she should be concentrating on reforms, because Punjab is the biggest province. More than 50% of the Pakistan's population lives in Punjab. Visiting school,
giving maternity leave. She's also talking about changing women's the purview of within which, as far as women the working space is concerned. She's talking about making places for the children. So at the same time,
give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. A country where 40% of the children less than 5 years of age are stunted. 28 million children are out of school. I mean, that is the problem. That is the challenge. Visiting the schools, of course, is important. But after visiting the school, I should know as a journalist, what plans does she have to bring into schools those who are left out of school? And how about the stunting issue? Because 40% is a huge number. And if these children are not taken care of, then how can you expect we have a brighter future? And Punjab being the largest province of Pakistan, I think the largest number of out-of-school children are in Punjab, and the largest number of stunted children are in Punjab. And with a poverty ratio about 40%, then most of the people living in Punjab are living below poverty line, 40%.
But we are looking at, as far as overall criticism is concerned, we are looking at, somebody who has to redress overall, the plethora of problems that are there. But at the same time, the resolve to go there, to find out, what the good issues are on ground, to try to inculcate them in the kind of reforms she can do on a provincial level is, I think, where she's headed. And the announcements that she's making as we go along with regard to what can be done as far as women are concerned, what can be done as far as the education sector is concerned, all things that come within the purview of her own governance, is, I think, what we are looking at. And perhaps, we will see more of that. We will also, of course, given time, see her style of governance, see her delegation of it, all of that. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for being with us. Naveed Aman Saab, thank you for joining us. Aniq Zafar, thank you for being with us. Javed Jadoon Saab, thank you for giving us your time. Overall, as far as today, of course, we've seen Asif Ali Zardari Saab elected as the president of Pakistan. We'll be looking at, of course, the cabinet in another day or so, and overall the style of governance that we are going to be looking at as far as the PMLN leading is going to come forward in the next week or so. And also, of course, the major challenge remains economy. Let's see how the government works to combat that with regard to the review that's going to come up as far as the IMF is concerned. Thank you so much for joining us today.